Welcome to State Scoop TV. I'm Jake Williams. We're here with Mike Hussey. He's the Chief Information Officer for the state of Utah. Mike, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
So Mike, we're here at the NASCIO Midyear Conference here in Crystal City, Virginia, talking all kinds of things, priorities, technologies, all sorts of things relevant to state CIOs. What are your main priorities and your focuses for the year ahead, and how have they changed over the last year?
It's interesting. Cybersecurity has been my number one priority, and I think it will continue to be my number one priority, as you've seen, all throughout this conference. But I think we're getting into some other challenges with broadband to our rural parts of our state. So that's something else that we'll begin to focus on, is how we deploy broadband everywhere that allows us to do some other things that I think is the first domino that has to fall as we're looking at how to further some of our other initiatives. That's the next thing we need to be looking at is broadband. So
that's great.
Okay.
And so tell me about, you're still relatively new to the CIO role. You've been in it a little over a year, is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So tell me about your enterprise visioning process. How are you really planning and executing on some of these big projects that we talk about here?
It's interesting you should ask. We have a little training at our mid-year conference, said to stand in the shower. So I think I'm going to change my visioning process to stand in the shower a little longer. But what we do, we get our team together. We have our CTO, our CTA, our management team. We all get together. We talk about what's the future holding. We look at the NASCIO mid-year conferences, and we look at what other states are doing. I think we're good listeners, and then I think we take from that back home and find out where we might implement some of these things that we're looking at. I think also the agencies bring information to us, and then from that point we start to vet how do we implement some of these things. So our visioning process is really multifaceted, and we kind of look at all of these things. Certainly the shower is going to be my next step.
Hey, that's a good place to start.
Okay.
What's we talk at conferences like these, we spend a lot of time talking about buzzwords. Sure. What's the biggest buzzword that you find yourself getting tired of, and how are you channeling the ideas that word represents into some action in Utah?
That's a great question. I think one of the big buzzwords in the industry that gives me problems is big data. A lot of times that the connotation that goes with that is this big brother. And so we're trying to get around that and just naming it something else: predictive analytics, data-driven decisions, that kind of thing, so that we might be able to still do the same exact process, or have the same initiatives, but just call it something else. And some of the things we're looking at with our data-driven decisions or predictive analytics is we're looking at how to serve the homelessness population better. We're looking at ways of sharing data between the state and the counties, and aggregating that unstructured data and being able to share that with the counties and make some decisions on where the best place to put our money to help some of these vulnerable populations. That's some of the things that we're looking at right now. And then I see that also look down the road. How do we help with recidivism, that kind of thing within our prison population? So lots of opportunities with data.
Well, lots of areas where it all comes together.
Absolutely.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of things all coming together, how are you trying to collaborate outside of your agency with other agencies, with other levels of government, and what are some of the challenges that come along with that collaboration?
It's interesting. The state of Utah is centralized in its IT structure, but we do have an IT director in each of those agencies that will help us understand agency alignment with what we're doing. We rely heavily on those IT directors. While at the same time we have those, I meet personally with all of the agency directors and just to get a finger on the pulse of things that are going on in the agency. And then also we get that feedback from other states. Hey, what are you doing in this space? And again, we listen and then go back and implement. So from the bottom of the organization all the way up through, we're always listening. We're not supposing that we've got it all figured out, and so we're certainly a listening ear from all aspects within the agency and from other states.
That's a great point there. And one of the things that we also talk about a lot at these conferences is whatever the new big next technology is.
Yes.
So with emerging technology, how has emerging technology changed the way that your state solves problems and delivers services?
And that's a great thing. We rely on the vendors produce technologies that the states can utilize. Everything from archiving of data to engaging the citizens in a different fashion. One of the things that we're doing most recently is we wrote an app for the Amazon Echo, and that was a new thing for us, and we're actually pushing that envelope a little more. We're releasing something else for the Echo, but it does help the state understand what the citizens want and how they use technology, and then adapt how we push that technology to them. And so it does from citizen engagement all the way through to how we interact with our employees. Employees now might even use an Echo in the workplace. And so we're, again, looking at ways that we might look at the landscape and then see how it changes our course. The Echo is certainly doing that. Autonomous vehicles is certainly doing that. We're looking at cybersecurity and how we might change what we do with emerging technologies on how to monitor the front door. So we look at across the board at technologies that will really drive where we head.
That's great. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing how all those things play out in the future.
Okay.
Mike, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
For more about what Mike's up to in Utah, check out statescoop.com and subscribe to the Daily Scoop morning email newsletter in your inbox every single morning. I'm Jake Williams, State Scoop's Manager of Strategic Initiatives, here with Mike Hussey, CIO of Utah. Thanks for watching.